Hi loves, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, hi, I'm so delighted to meet you. My name is Evie, your self-appointed big sister that helps you step into the most aligned and empowered version of you. Today we are going to be diving into the topic of how to master the art of saying no this year. I bet it's been on your vision board for the last 5 years. Probably why you're watching this video, right? A lot of us can struggle with the art of saying no. And so that is what we are going to dive into today. Today we're going to look at why we find it so hard to say no, the 3 steps to saying no with confidence, and how to visualize saying no with ease. It's going to be a good video. But just before we get going, if you didn't know, I'm doing 31 videos in January. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling them the Daily Dose Diaries, and I think today is video 15. So if you're liking this vibe and you would like some more, hey, there's a whole bunch coming and there's a whole bunch already out. You should go check them out. And if you're really enjoying it, maybe you would like to just subscribe. That would be amazing. Okay, let's dive in. Also, I'm kind of seeing these videos a little bit like a short podcast episode. So short, snappy, practical, get in, get it done, get back out there, live your life. If you're looking for a more expanded, nourishing version of this, then come and listen to Guided. Guided is my weekly podcast. New episodes drop every Monday morning at 9 a.m. and I think you'll really like it. You can find it here on YouTube or on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. I would love to see you there. Okay, let's jump in. So if you have ever found yourself feeling overwhelmed, overcommitted, and saying yes to things that just don't light you up, this video is for you. And so when we're thinking about wanting to be able to say no, it's really coming from a place of understanding that when we say yes to something that's misaligned, that is a no to ourselves, to our autonomy, to our dreams, to our goals, to our peace. And this year, guys, we're choosing peace, right? So let's get into that. So why saying no is so hard then? Saying no can feel so uncomfortable. It can feel anxiety-inducing, it can feel overwhelming. And for many of us, it is tied to this feeling of disappointment, this fear of disappointing others and letting other people down, this fear of maybe being seen as difficult or tricky, or even missing out on opportunities, even if they don't seem like they'll serve us. So if you're nodding along, you are not alone. We've all done this. This is a part of being human. And this happens because we are so conditioned, especially as women, to prioritize the needs of others above our own. That's not groundbreaking information, right? You know that, you can feel it. But here's the thing, every yes that drains you is another step away from the life that you're trying to create. If you're anything like me, this January, you are trying to step into that most aligned and empowered version of you. To do that, to reach that version of you, we have got to lay down the yeses that are really no's, right? The doing things out of obligation rather than because we feel like we want to. What if instead of people pleasing, we reframed saying no as an act of self-respect, a way to honor our time, our values, and our energy? Because you're busy people, right? I'm sure you have lots of really important things in your life that you want to be focusing on, whether it's your family, your pets, your job, your dreams, your goals, whatever it is, that's important and that is as valuable as the thing that you're saying no to. They're equal, right? So here are my 3 steps to help you say no with confidence. How do we actually say no without the guilt, right? Let me break it down for you in 3 simple steps that I think you'll find helpful. So know your priorities. That is number 1. Know your priorities. Before you can say no confidently, you have to know what you're saying yes to. And you might want to go back a few videos and think about getting really intentional about this year. Think about where you're going, where you want to be by the end of the year. Because without knowing that, you can't really know what your priorities are. And then when we don't know our own priorities, when those priorities aren't locked in for us, they're a little bit weak and flimsy. And so people can come in, and maybe with people that are stronger personality type perhaps, and they can shift our priorities without us really realizing it. And it's our responsibility to make sure that our priorities are crystal clear. So if you haven't already, take some time to clarify your priorities this year, whether it's your health, whether it's your relationships, your career, your dreams, or creative projects. Get really clear about the intention that you're setting for this year, about which things you are locked and loaded, so focused on, right? When you get clear on what matters most, it becomes much, much easier to identify what's not aligned. Crystal clear, in fact. So number 1 was know your priorities. Number 2, use compassionate language. Saying no doesn't mean being harsh or dismissive. People might say no in that way. You don't have to. You can be kind and firm at the same time. It's something that is totally accessible. So, for example, instead of saying, I can't help with that, when a friend asks for some help on something that you just don't have time for, you could say, I would love to support you, but my schedule is full right now. When we're saying no, it's not because we don't always want to help people. It just means that we can't, right? We've got to take care of our own situation before we start offering help out to other people. And so being compassionate, leading with compassion, is going to help other people know that you really value them, but time, money, different constraints just don't allow for it at the moment. And that's nobody's fault. Compassionate no's can build boundaries while maintaining relationships. Simple as that. Finally, number 3, practice makes perfect. You knew this was coming. I knew this was coming, okay? It's just a reminder. The first few no's are going to feel awkward. It's uncomfortable. When we're growing and stretching, it can feel uncomfortable. Doesn't mean we're doing anything wrong. Feels like it, but it doesn't mean that we are actually doing anything wrong. And so they might feel a little clunky, a little janky to begin with. So we want to start small. Really low stake situations to begin with. Okay, my friends? So something like declining a coffee date when you're feeling burnt out, when you've got no energy left. The more that you practice it, the more natural it will feel. You could even practice it with your partner, right? With your partner or somebody that you're very close with. Sit them down and say, hey, I am trying to learn to say no better this year. I'd love it if you could help me with that. Keep me accountable to that. If they love you and support you, that is not going to be a problem. They are going to do that. They are going to help keep you accountable. And we are made for community. We are made for the collective, right? And so asking your community for support in this is a really beautiful way to show up for yourself and show up for them and show up for others as well, because you're taking such good care of yourself in order to take really good care of others as well. I'm going to try and visualize saying no with ease. So you could close your eyes for a moment. You could sit back in your chair, relax. I want us to take a moment, imagine not saying yes out of obligation. So perhaps with your eyes closed, you might picture yourself with energy, space, and time for things that truly nourish you. Picture what that version of you looks like right now. Notice how they're moving, how they're showing up, perhaps what they look like. Every time that you say no to what doesn't align, you're saying yes to you. Notice how that feels right now. You might even imagine your mind's eye what that looks like now. You might imagine that compassionate no right now. You might notice your growth and your dreams and your overflow. You might notice how that looks and feels right now in your mind's eye. You might notice how that feels in your body. But just explore that. Just explore that right now. And you can release that visualization when you feel ready. And you might take a deep breath here and allow this version of you, this visualization, to sink in really, really deeply. And so as we step into this year, I want you to reflect on this. What are you ready to stop saying yes to? What are you ready to stop saying yes to? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. I think there is something really magical about speaking it out. It almost claims it. You're committing to it on a deeper level than just thinking on it right now. And if you're craving more support with boundaries, intentional living, or personal growth, don't forget to check out my course, Overwhelm to Overflow. It's a self-paced 6-module course where you move from the chaotic overwhelmed version of you and into the grounded, aligned, overflowing version of you. It's a really great course. Remember, a no to someone else can be a powerful yes to you. You've got this. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I will see you tomorrow for another dose of the Daily Diaries. I'll see you then.